Good morning, Facebook. I'm here live with Anna Lovick. She is the founder and owner of the Alchemy Group. Anna, thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, so fun to be here.
So I have my headset in. You don't have to, but I put it in because there's some construction going on next door, and I don't want to. I want to have a little bit better of a mic. But do you remember how we met? I remember how we met. Do you remember?
I do remember how we met. Yeah.
So we were at an event for a mutual friend of ours, and we had to put together this interview, this testimonial, and you did a fantastic job. And that was when we met. I loved your energy. I loved your ability to just kind of light up a room too, and it was just really nice because we got shots of you interacting with people, and that really stood out for me that day. And I have always, just wanted to reconnect, and today I'm glad we're doing that.
Oh, you're so sweet. Actually, I have that video on my Instagram because it's one of my favorite videos.
Nice.
And I love it because I feel like I'm so bad at those things, and I feel like you brought out all of the great things that I said and my good qualities and put it together and made it look fabulous. So
hey, that's my job.
Right?
That's my job. So I love the name, the Alchemy Company. I obviously think highly of you. You're doing fantastic. Before we get into like exactly what you do, obviously it's, if people are watching, they can see your Facebook page up on this live here, so they can see it's a real estate service. And we'll dive into that. But how did you get into the real estate industry? Now, you're not a realtor, but the real estate industry, obviously you're supporting cast, right, for the realtors, kind of like us, right? So
Absolutely.
How did you get started in real estate?
So, funny story. I was 23 at the time. I was making $30,000 a year, and I had a girlfriend. She's like, well, I'm working in the lending industry, and everyone here makes 10 grand a month. So I was like, well, sign me up because that's more than my $2,500 a month. So anyway, I went to work for a bank on the wholesale side.
Okay.
Turns out everyone was not making 10 grand a month, but that's how I got into the industry originally. And
so mortgage.
Yeah, I started on the mortgage side, and I realized it was not a great fit for me. I did okay once I learned what I was doing and how to do it. I was always on the assistant side, so I assisted producers. Okay. And then the market crashed in 2008. My husband and I moved to Florida for a little bit, and that is actually when I switched to the real estate side and found my passion and realized that I loved the real estate side. So it was all kind of a fit, and it all clicked at that point. And then we ended up moving back to California. Long story short, obviously stayed in real estate, learned and became an expert on all the paperwork and all things real estate for California, and just decided to go out on my own.
Nice. And so what's the total of years that you've been in the industry?
So I guess 13 years.
Wow. Very cool.
I know.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know if you know the story, and I'll give it to you real quick because this is not about me, but just so you and I can relate. It's like I was in real estate, then I went into mortgage, and then I found my calling in video.
Exactly.
So it's kind of cool. We know what lenders are going through. We know what realtors are going through. So I think it's really cool because it allows you to connect with them on a different level than if you were just, never been a part of it before, right?
Yeah, and it also lets you, having had those different experiences, it lets you know that where you've landed is where you're supposed to be. So.
Sure. No, that's a good point. Yeah, because you've experienced the others, and you've found your most valuable way to contribute to the industry, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know real quick, I know you have a family. I don't know how you do it. You have 3 kids, and you have your own business. Your husband does his thing. I don't know how you do it. 3 kids, right?
Yeah. So
how do you juggle all that?
Honestly, Sundays, I don't know how I do it either. And it's literally day by day. I wake up and I tackle each day as it comes. I definitely am a planner and type A. So that helps.
Sure.
And then I have a wonderful support system who helps with my kids. I think everyone kind of thinks that as TCs, we work from home so we can just have our kids at home. That's not the case. I do work from home, but my kids are not, as you can see, they're nowhere near because I would not be able to work with them under my feet. And,
sure. I thought you had them tied up somewhere.
Exactly, right? They're in the
closet. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you have to be present with your work. It's not like, you just lounge in your pajamas all day.
Exactly.
So I totally understand. So tell us about the Alchemy Company. How'd you I want to know, how'd you come up with the name?
Yeah. So I guess as I was kind of brainstorming what to name the company, it really kept going back to service. And when I started the company, I wanted to be a different experience for everyone out there. I didn't want to be just your average transaction coordinator. Like, I wanted people to use me because they wanted to take their business to the next level, and they wanted to have a really extraordinary experience on the TC side. So then I found Alchemy, and in a broad sense, it is turning something ordinary into something extraordinary.
I like that.
And so that's kind of how the name came to be, because we really want all of our clients, when they work with us, to have that extraordinary experience.
Sure. No, that makes total sense. And I love the name and the symbolism behind it. So you've hinted at it. What do you do exactly?
Yeah, so myself and my team were just a bunch of crazy real estate paperwork gurus. So essentially, we help agents take their files from contract to close. So we help them, once they're under contract, really get that file to the finish line. And one thing I think that we do differently is that we really own that transaction and help them manage that transaction. So as opposed to just, having a TC to kind of like make sure all of your disclosures are there to help push paper.
Right.
We take that function completely off of our clients' hands, so they don't even have to think about that. So, we help make sure escrow's doing their job, lenders doing their job, making sure the paperwork's there, but then we also help the agents manage the timeline, so they don't really have to think about anything transaction related once they're under contract.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's like heaven sent, right, for an agent, where they can go and continue to get business. They can go out, network, build their marketing campaigns, and actually execute on them, because they don't have to worry about the transaction like they usually have to when they don't have somebody like you.
Exactly. So we consider ourselves transaction managers versus just transaction coordinators, because we really are managing all the pieces of the puzzle.
That's awesome. I was looking through your Facebook, I think it was your Facebook page, and a review said, the Alchemy Group, more like Charlie's Angels, right? So obviously you guys are impacting, right? Like,
I remember that comment. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah. How many, speaking of, just your team, how big or how many of you guys are on the team right now?
So there's 12 of us total.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really grown. Kind of what you see on the pictures you see on the website is not everyone. I need to update it. It's just hard to get everyone in for headshots and all of that. So
of course.
Yeah. So now every lead TC has an assistant who they're grooming and training and really teaching them the Alchemy way. And then a couple of our TCs have multiple assistants. So it's really just grown. And I mean, I think that at the end of the day, most of our growth is due to the quality of work and the level of service.
And the people, right?
Right.
So how do you, speaking about that, like, how do you attract the right people, to your team? How do you attract obviously you have a big part in that, right? So you attract the right people and your personality, but how do you retain, how do you attract, all those key people?
So it's so funny that you asked that, because that is the question that I get the most.
Sure.
from other people, from other TCs to our clients, because maybe like they're ready to bring an admin on, or whatever their situation is.
Sure.
Or even people in other businesses, they're like, how do you find and retain talent? Because I guess that's where a lot of people have struggled. And honestly, I wish I had an easy answer, but the best suggestion I have is I hire slowly, and I wait for the right person.
Sure.
We could definitely probably have taken a path to grow quicker, bigger.
Right.
But I feel like we would have lost that quality, and I wouldn't have had control over who was on our team, and who's on the team really makes or breaks our image and our name. And
of course,
it's important to me. So
of course,
I would say that the best way that I found talent is if I like someone on the other side of a transaction, I put them in my mental bank, and then if I see them again and it's consistent, and their attitude's always on point, then I'll just reach out and see where they're at in life, what they're doing. So really kind of recruiting, I guess. And then some people have reached out to me, and maybe we didn't have a fit for them, but I thought they were going to be a perfect fit for our team. Nice. So I'll tell them, like, I don't have a spot for you now, but when I do, you're my person.
You're calling them up. Sure.
Yeah, it's really about taking your time to find the right fits for your team and your future.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And I imagine that plays into what makes you so different, right, than other transaction coordinators, or in your case, you're a transaction manager. So is there anything you would say really makes you guys different besides that? Besides, like, obviously your ability to take someone's business and help them grow into new levels, and then obviously your people. Is there anything else that really you feel like really makes you guys different?
Yeah. So going back to, I guess it ties into the recruiting a little bit, because every coach and every high level player will be like, you need to have your team members take a disc profile, or like sure. see where they fit in the box. Right. And I take a totally different approach. Nice. I have none of my team has ever taken a disc profile. I don't know where they fit in what box. But what I do know about each of them is they are extremely hard workers, and they have a great attitude. And I think the attitude is what sets us apart, because in all of our communication, regardless of how sticky situations can get during a transaction, we take the high road, we take the professional route. Nice. I always say you can never offend someone by being professional. Yeah. And so we're never going to get catty on the other side of a transaction. It's just, it's always friendly. If you need to take a breather, write an email, delete it, whatever it is. But once that email to the other side goes out, it's friendly. It's positive. There's a great attitude behind it. So
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so obviously it helps to make the agent more successful, right? It's an
their obvious... job is hard enough. So they're hiring us to make things a little bit easier on them. And if we're adding to their stress level, then we're not adding value for them.
True. That's very true. And so when you started to where you've added value to the agents, what
you started
what would you
to break
say?
Up a little bit. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. No, that's okay. So all these things that you're talking about, you're adding value back to the agent, and you're making them more successful. They're able to go out and do what they need to do versus having to worry about things that you guys beautifully take care of for them. So what makes you so passionate about this?
Well, I've been on the sales side and realized that side is not for me. It is extremely stressful. What the agents are out there doing is really hard work. And so what I realized is that I love being their backup. I love helping support them, because I don't want to be them. I just want to help them be the best that they can be. And one thing that I talk to the team about is adding value. So in my mind, we have to add so much value that they can't do their jobs without us.
Nice. Yeah, well said. That's great. That's great. Yeah, for for somebody who's successful, you're passionate about what you're doing, but I think it's because of, the adding value, helping them, taking somebody from where they are to where they can be because of your services. I think that's the core of business, right? Like, how can we take somebody, and not that they couldn't do it alone if they were to try, but it's about a team, right? It's about creating a team. Where is that agent adding the most value for their business?
Exactly.
And is it the transaction side where you take care of, or is it not? If it's not, then it's on the sales side. Then go out and do what they need to do. So that's beautiful. I love that. That's basically what we do as well, in terms of just like trying to add value, help them go out and sell more homes, right? Help them find more homes for buyers. So yeah, anyway, I just went on a little rant there, but
yeah, and there's so many other pieces of the transaction that they're bogged down with during the transaction that, like, what we're taking off their plate, they don't need to worry with that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's, for you, it's much more every day you see what like an agent has to go through. For me, it's like I'm a little bit more removed from that, so sometimes it's like you forget. You're like, wow, these agents have to do so much, not just on the
They really
sales
do.
side, but also on just like making sure the paperwork's right, making sure who's getting it, the right person's getting it, what needs to be changed. So yeah, I mean, we forget how hard their job really is sometimes.
Right. And they're also, playing the psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever
Sure.
for their clients and dealing with all of that. So
Right. Oh, and then not to mention, they're having to repair things and like, be designers, handyman,
exactly.
like all these different things. So it's definitely challenging. So beautiful. You told me like wonderful ways you're supporting your clients. You just had a great client appreciation event, client
We
party.
did.
So tell me a little bit about that. How did that go, and what were you trying to accomplish there?
Yeah. So it's the one thing that we really try to put money into every year is just to thank our clients and to show them that we do appreciate their business and
Yes.
we're grateful for them. So we
Sure.
want to at least take that time once a year to give back
Mhm.
to them. It's really hard as the TC because we are always behind our desk. So we don't see our clients a lot. So sometimes that's our only opportunity to see our
Right.
client is once a year. Some clients we see more, and I try to obviously get out and support our clients as much as possible.
Right.
But it's tough. So it's the one time that we can kind of all come together. The whole team can be there, and we can just say thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. And obviously it was successful. I saw some pictures, some good
Yeah,
people at
it
your
was
event.
really fun.
So I know we were talking about video, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about maybe some ways that you're using video, how and if you're not, like, what are ways that you're wanting to, right? Because this is all growth. Like, I'm growing too. Like, it's not just like, oh, I'm done figuring out how to make videos. So this conversation helps me because I like to, like, I like to see maybe where some pains are, if there's some way that we can add value, or at least provide a resource for who's like, you're not the only one going through some challenges. So this conversation allows for us to find potential solutions. Now, I saw myself kind of get choppy. Did you hear all that, or okay?
Yeah, it did get choppy, but I think I heard most of it. And the big picture, how am I using video? Well, I'm not using it as much as I should.
Sure.
I definitely haven't implemented it that well. I have some mental challenges and mental blocks there
Sure.
because I feel like probably what we do on the TC side, people don't really find that interesting. We're
Hmm.
just a few crazy people who like paperwork. So,
Right.
I don't know that people want to hear what we're doing every day at
Sure.
our desk, but
Sure.
I'm trying to find ways here and there. And obviously, if I'm out and about at real estate events, trying to document that more. And
Right.
like you said, I just had a client appreciation party, so trying to document those things. So at least there's content there.
Right. So is there anything you'd like to share that maybe has prevented you from using video? Are there some like pains or some challenges? And that's one thing I want to make sure everybody understands is just because I film, we create videos, doesn't mean that we have similar challenges, right? And these podcasts and Facebook Lives are a big reason. Like the reason I'm doing this is because I've challenged myself, like, you need to start creating content more, because I do it all the time, but I don't do it for myself necessarily, right?
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
I'm doing it to support, businesses, companies, agents, and so on. So are there any challenges or pains that you are willing to share that might open the conversation to some solutions?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, most of my challenge is mental. Like I just, I feel like my content wouldn't interest people that much, and
Sure.
maybe I shouldn't be making that decision.
Uh-huh.
Let other people, if they're not interested, swipe on by or whatever.
Sure.
And then, I mean, this is gonna sound so silly, but like, secondly, like I don't want to get up and get ready to like
Sure.
create content every day.
Yeah.
I am sitting behind my desk all day, so sometimes I am wearing workout clothes during the day.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's a few challenges, and I'm sure those look different for whatever your industry is, but
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think those are very common. Like I'm teaching a class right now and doing a webinar coming up about this, like very, very same thing. It's like, and I go through it too. It's like, okay, what am I going to show that's considered worthy, right?
mm-hmm.
And am I adding to my business, or am I taking away because I'm showing stuff that may or may not be of interest?
Right.
The thing I always say is, like, if you're not creating content, or if you're not doing video, then you're pretty much giving your viewers nothing to give you feedback on, right? So easier said than done. So don't think I'm like preaching to you or anything, but it's just like that's what got me saying, okay, what am I not doing? Where can I film more? Where can I document more? And I got hung up on the same thing. It's like, oh, I have to create something. And I've found, like, yes, but as long as you document, like you guys are doing for events, and you keep it going, you'll discover new opportunities within that, right? So it may not be, hey, I'm going to have David come film what we do a day in a life, but maybe it's a few clips, maybe it's a few Facebook Lives, maybe it's a few Instagram stories, and that's like going to start you, and then like you'll find your way from there, like everything else, right? Like if you wanted to start cooking, and you never cooked before, you just start, and your first meal might not be that good, but your next meal is going to be better, right? So that's just kind of my 2 cents on that too. So don't I think you should, because you have such great energy. Even on your phone, you should be, because your energy is great. Your people are great. It's just kind of like, it'd be different if you were, boring, and your people were not as exciting. And it's just like, and that's obviously not the case. So anyway, that's my 2 cents there.
I appreciate the pump up.
Yeah, I'm trying to pump you up. Hey,
exactly.
Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna like start winding down a little bit, because I know you gotta go and continue with your day. But like, for sharing what you're trying to do for the agents. I feel like the more agents do that, the less stressed they are when they do videos.
Right.
And so that's what was like really important for me. It was just like, you and I are like, or at least you're my part of my team, because if you can help take their stress away, at least in one area of their life, they're less likely to take that stress into like a different part of their business, right? In this case, like maybe video or marketing. So by you doing what you do, like, you make believe it or not, I think you make, all the other vendors, all the other affiliates' jobs easier.
Absolutely, because agents should not be sitting behind their desk working on all the details.
Sure. Yeah. No, I agree. So, little question, couple fun questions. What are some books that you've read or that you're reading right now that really are your favorite and that stand out?
Okay, I'm going to go against the grain here because everyone in this industry constantly posts about what self-help book they're reading,
Sure.
whatever the latest and greatest is. I do not read self-help. So first of all, I barely have any time to read. So
sure.
I'll state that first.
Yes.
If I'm being honest. Secondly, if I do read, I want to completely zone out. So I mostly read fiction.
Cool. That's good.
So I'll answer those questions privately as to what my favorite fiction books are. But I did read a business book, Profit First, and that's probably been the most helpful to my business. But yeah, regarding self-helps, I just am a believer. Like I always say, if I wrote a self-help, you would open it and would say, close this book and go do it.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I could see how people, including myself, can get caught up in reading something and you're just like, okay, and then it just kind of like it helps you and then like you feel better about yourself, but then it doesn't necessarily mean you take action.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Like if you're ever gonna do, you just have to implement. So it's fine if you want to read it, but are you going to implement what you read?
And I think it's great because your fiction, like a fiction book that you read, it's functional because it's allowing you to relax, you to decompress, you to break away from the business for a second, because then you come back more energized, rejuvenated, and so hey, in its own way, it's also self-help, right?
Exactly.
So I get it.
I just kind of read, I read fiction, usually whatever Reese Witherspoon is reading, I'll read whatever's popular. Yeah.
Very cool. I like that. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. My wife does that a lot, and I'm more self-help. But I think like typically like movies, like I'll watch a movie or something like that. And I don't watch a full movie. Now with a kid, I probably watch like 10 minutes and then like, okay, I'll come back to it later. But that kind of does for me what maybe it does for you in a sense of like just disconnecting a little, breaking away. So that's cool. Anyway, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, Anna?
Well, my goal in 5 years is to double my business. So we're going to be working the next 5 years to do that. I put some pieces in play that hopefully will help get us there, and just continue every day to nose to the grindstone, hard work, and we'll get there.
That's very cool. And where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Alabama.
Alabama. Nice.
So,
I hear a nice little accent.
Yeah. I've been out here for almost 19 years. So
very cool. Very cool. Hey, well, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Where can the viewers or listeners find out more information about the Alchemy Company?
So you can go to our Facebook group, which is the Alchemy Company. You can go to our website, which is www.alchemytc.com. Nice. Or our Instagram handle is @ Transaction Coordinators.
That's cool that you got that, huh? That seems like would be a popular one to have.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wow.
I think I was an early adopter, so I was able to snag that handle.
Look at you.
Yeah.
That's a cool one. Well, thank you so much, Anna. Appreciate you, and maybe we'll get you on the show again in the future sometime.
Would love to. Thanks, David.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay. Take care.
Have fun with those kiddos.
Bye.
Bye.